Hello everybody from Ledbury Primary. I'm Cookie and I'm going to show you a little cartoon workshop here. What's it going to be? Well, I'll tell you. It's going to be a woodland scene, and I want you to start over this side of the page, quite low down, with a nice N shape. I like to use letters, familiar shapes to you, so if I'm talking in letters like N's and M's, you'll know what I'm talking about. Now, joined onto the bottom of that N shape is a nice rounded shape. It's like all it is like a big letter U. That's it. Pause it if you get a little bit behind. Okay, these little shapes here, it's almost like a little V shape coming off the top of the head, because this, well, I'm not going to tell you what it is until you get a little bit further along and see if you can tell me. Okay. You've got a line going across from the top of that little V shape there. And this one is going right up, round and back down again to join up. Any ideas? Now from here, from that line going across, we're going to go down and back up to join it. If you can tell, this is going to be a rabbit, and those are the ears. Okay. Eyes are pretty easy. Along about where our N shape is, you're going to put two little dots, and you see I've left a little bit of white paper showing through those on those dots, and that makes it look like the eye is a little bit shiny. And that little V shape there is the nose. Now the body comes round to start with, little curved lines there, and then we're doing another N shape coming down like that, and those are the great big back legs that are perfect for jumping. So we're working our way down this cartoon from the head downwards, and that's how I like to draw the cartoons. On here are the feet. Another little curved shapes with a lot of curves that we use, and that's like the outline of the body. Now, instead of putting a straight line along here, we're going to go up and down with our pen. Small, short, longer, taller, and that is like the grass underneath the rabbit. It's like hiding the long grass a little bit, and it makes it a little bit more interesting than just a straight line underneath a rabbit. Now the arms are quite tricky. So two lines coming down together, that side and that side. And then all we need are the paws. And I'm going to make this really, really easy but cartoony. It's like a W with an extra bit. So a W and an extra little bit on the end. And it looks like it's got little paws. So that is like in the foreground of our picture. That's a little rabbit in the foreground. Now in the background, I'm going to show you a nice way of drawing a cartoon tree, and you can have fun with this. If you can just follow me on this, do lines coming a little bit wider at the bottom like that. You may be great at drawing trees already. This is just a different way. Or your trees might look like lollipops, in which case this might come in handy for you. So two little lines coming off the top there, as you can see, and those are the branches at the top of the tree. So I've done three branches at the top coming off the top. There's a little bit closer for you. Now all we're doing here is shapes of the leaves. Does that look like a letter W to you? Little W's or U's joined up. And as I say, I like to use letters because of the shapes that we're used to, so that cartooning is something you're more used to than you think. Now I'm turning into a little bit of M shapes now, but some big curves, small curves. Just vary it as much as you can until you can get round about that shape on the top of your tree. Now I just speeded this up a little bit. I'm just doing letter C shapes here and there. You don't have to draw every single leaf, but you're just making it look as though there's a few leaves there. in various little positions, and they're basically C shapes and U shape. There's just some bark on the tree and a little hole in the tree there. And instead of doing a straight line, some little jaggedy lines for the grass, just like we did on the rabbit. Now this is going to be a bee. Start with a circle for the eye, and next to it a half circle there. I'll get a little bit closer up to that so you can see what I'm doing. So a curved line coming up from these eyes. This is going to be like the little nose of the bee. I'm going to curve that right round from the nose, right round to the eyes, little short body. Again, pause it if you get a little bit behind. It's very difficult trying to draw and watch at the same time. And I'm kind of cramming as much in as I can. If you couldn't get on to watch us do our live workshop. There are the wings. They're basically two N shapes. Again, I've left little stripes on there which you can colour in later. And the antennae droop down a little bit on a cartoon bee. On mine they do anyway. And a couple of dots for the eyes. And legs hanging down. And if you want to, you can do a little row of dots to show which direction it's been flying in. And it makes it look quite funny because they are quite slow, and those aren't go faster stripes, are they? Just little dots. So I'm going to draw a pond now. So pause if you're just finishing off your bee or anything. So I'm not doing any straight lines, any thick lines. I'm just doing the shape of this pond, surrounded by grass again. So there's little spikes, little lines, all sticking straight up, but in kind of the shape, the natural shape of a pond, just going behind that rabbit a little bit there. And it makes it more interesting than just doing straight lines. You know, a great big oval for a pond, it makes it more interesting. So in this pond I'm going to do a fish. Now just like we did the eyes of the bee, I'm starting with a circle, and next to it a half circle. Okay, now coming down from here is like the nose of the fish, a wavy line for the ripples on the water, an M shape with an extra little bit, and those are the fins on the back. That's its tail sticking up as well. I've got some more detailed workshops how to draw a fish if you wanted to. Just have a look on our YouTube and you'll be able to see a really detailed way of drawing a fish. There's some little ripples on the water. So the cartoon's starting to take shape. In the background I'm going to draw a few trees, okay? And all you need to do is just do some straight lines here and there. I'm rushing through this a little bit, but just watch for a minute and then you can add these on later. These are like background things, so it's not really important. You've done all the shapes before, you've done the straight lines, the little C shapes and M shapes for the trees, and when you colour those in, they're going to be in darker colours because they're in the background. And like the underline of the tree is quite jagged for the grass. So starting over here, I'm going to put some flowers by the pond. So there is the middle of the flower. And if you just follow me on this, it's a really good way of drawing petals on a flower. You've got a big old N shape there. It's quite narrow at where it starts off. It goes wide, round and back narrow again. Same on the sides, that's like a big C shape now. And a back to front C shape on that side. Then just add some more petals in the middle of each one of those. And that is a really nice easy way of drawing a flower, and you can do lots and lots of those. If you enjoy drawing that, then you can draw lots of them, and I'll show you how to make them overlap in a second. There's the stem, but to make it more interesting we follow that line down to the bottom. The leaf is like an N shape again, and a U shape joined up with a little line down the middle, and that's a leaf. Same again, just do it in sections like this. Just follow me, pause it while you draw it, and you can gradually build up this picture. There's the grass again underneath this flower. So I've got no real straight lines underneath everything. Makes it look more like it's a grassy sort of woodland. Okay, here's another middle of a flower, and we're going to put some flowers in the background behind that main one. So always do the same way till you get used to it. Top and bottom, side to side, and then just fill in the gaps with more petals. And the more you draw them, the more you get used to it, and you can just do them really quickly, because the main one is the one in the foreground. The rest of them are just going to be in the background. You're going to colour them sort of darker colours or in the shade, and you'll soon get used to drawing those leaves. You put little curves on them, but always at the bottom put a little bit of grass as those little zigzag lines. And I'm just speeding this up a little bit, because once you get to draw them, you can put as many as you like in the background, and they just overlap, they just go behind those flowers there. So here, two coloured in dots next to each other, two thick dots, a U shape shaded in, and some little dots going down. And these are going to be, with those antennae, big N shape, big U shape, another big N shape, and another big U shape, and you've got yourself a dragonfly there. Here it is again, a bit quicker. There's the dots coming down, and there are those wings again, and there are the antennae. So that's a nice easy way of drawing a couple of insects floating about. A nice summery scene. These are hills in the background. See if you can have a go at these. Just a single line coming down. It disappears behind that dragonfly, and those could be the Malvern Hills there in the background. And just more little tree shapes in the background as well. And we're just basically building up a little picture. And this is what I'm doing live for the school, so if you didn't get a chance to do it, then this is like a little quicker version, like mini version of that, and see how yours compare to everybody else's. This is how to draw a cloud. I do a straight line for the bottom of the cloud, then again basically N shapes of different sizes, and you've got a nice cloud shape there. The letter O for the sun, and like I've done the petals, top, bottom, side to side, and fill in any gaps. So I'm going to start shading now, but you can use colours once you get to this stage. You're just creating your own colouring in book. So here's a faster version. Here's me speeded up, 1,000 miles an hour. But I've only got 15 minutes on these YouTube clips, so I have to work pretty quick. So I've just speeded this up. You just shade them in whichever colours you want. Make the flowers in the background a bit darker, and any little darker shapes like in that tree, just as inside that tree you can see it's a bit darker, and you can see the background tree's a bit darker. Don't try and keep up with me here, just watch me, and then you can pause it and go back. There's the inside of that rabbit's ear, can be pink, bits of shade under the legs. I'm going to do that fish green, a little bit of shading on one side of that mountain because the sun's shining on the top of it, and shading on the underside of that cloud. And if you shade that grass green, press on a bit harder underneath the trees and underneath the rabbit and underneath the flowers. So there's my cartoon woodland scene. Hope you've enjoyed drawing it, and now you can enjoy colouring it. And if there's anything you're not sure how to draw, just have a look on Cookie's Cartoon Workshop and be able to see lots and lots of videos.